So, which ideas did I bring in Revolting Children and Naughty? So, in Revolting Children, the ideas that I brought to the table were the use of kind of getting it into the audience faces in the bits where each cast member has their own individual line. So they go to the front of the audience and they sing out and they have their own. So for example, my one was Andrew Rude Pictures on the board. So that was part of my input there. Another part of my input was that during the choreography, three of us, in order to create kind of a greater proximity and to build the space up and make it much more kind of revolting and exciting, was have these kids jump onto the table, and when they got onto the table have their own choreography with a ball in which they throw a ball between each other, and ultimately as there's choreography going on in front of them, it's quite a nice kind of, it gives a big range on the stage of kind of low height to high height. Other ideas I brought to Revolting Children in terms of choreography were the idea right at the start to have all the characters crowd around the character Bruce. So it all begins and we're all kind of really tight and bunched in and squeezed together, and then it kind of becomes quite loud as he stands up. He should really take control of the situation, and he should get all audience eyes members on him if that was appropriate. And so the idea was that it kind of goes from something really quite small into something really quite loud and dramatic. When I acted as a leader in this process was very much in the early devising process and choreography process. So for example, the scene prior to the actual dance number, I wrote the scene before, so I wanted it to end on quite a high and then drop low suddenly and then be extra high when the song starts. So in terms of crowding around the character Bruce, that was when I acted as a leader, had that idea to kind of bring it all in together. Other times in the song where I acted as a leader were probably the parts where the book gets passed from over someone's head and then in between someone's leg and then over someone's head again, and it continues in that pattern. I acted as a leader there because we had to acknowledge how many beats, how many bars it was going to take for us to get that book going up, down, and see if we had to leave anyone out, which ultimately we did. But we turned that into a comical thing, and part of the family kind of light entertainment that was valued in that song. Disagreements we had on Revolting Children, yeah, we had quite a few. As we got into the piece more, we disagreed less, but one of the main disagreements was the use of the kind of main phrase, which was all about these punches and these movements back using the shoulders. That was one of the biggest phrases in the piece. And so in order to maximise the potential in that phrase, we had to drop it out in some places and deliberately not overuse it, because if it was overused, it would feel very, it wouldn't feel as punchy and as direct as it actually was. In Naughty, the ideas that I brought to Naughty was this idea that the song, although choreographed, shouldn't be over-choreographed. So we need to kind of bring back the reality element into it, because ultimately these are 7-year-old kids. So what I brought to this was a kind of much more drama to it. I mean that in the sense of have choreography, yes, but also have kind of acting on stage as well. So for example, we'd have a little pushing moment between myself and another character, and like kids do, they fall out and they can be quite mean and quite rude to each other, like not intentionally, but And so kind of just bring that kind of force back in a bit, and then kind of have that idea of making it slightly more human and less like a piece of theatre that's being watched in terms of dance. When did I act as a leader in that? There was an early idea in that process where we were choreographing Naughty, where we'd stand on tables and have a little motif on a table. So I acted as a leader at that point because I needed to establish what exactly we would be dancing to, the bars, the beats in the second, and how quickly the movement was going to be. Ultimately, the idea was dropped because we discovered the way that the other choreography develops, it doesn't work. It's not a smooth, fluid transition. But early on in the process, I kind of put my hand up and suggested that, and then developed that. Disagreements in Naughty, the main disagreements were the spacing that was used, but definitely between sets. So where each part of the set was used and how we dance around that and how we move around that, as well as not just the set, but how far away we distance ourselves from the audience, and how that shouldn't have happened. Like that shouldn't have been something that we disagree about. We need to be performing to the audience, in the audience faces, even if it's not like a revolting, like horrid song like the other one. Like, we still need to perform. We still need to be aware that they're there. And I think on the actual performance night, we did establish that, not as much as we should have, but we did establish that kind of relationship more in that song. So disagreements were definitely between kind of breaking the fourth wall of theatre and not breaking the fourth wall of theatre.